My name is Alec Colcord. I work at the hospital, fortunately. I'm a tech. I grew up all around South Mississippi. Went to high school in Biloxi. As soon as I turned 18, I got on hormone replacement therapy.
So people often say that children are too young to understand their own gender identity. What are your opinions on this, and when do you think children become aware of who they are regarding their gender identity?
Me personally, I didn't think anything about gender until I was about 8 or 9, and my first memories of it were any Halloween or anything. I would be Spider-Man or G.I. Joe or a male character, or playing with my cousins, the imaginary games I would always be the guy or the prince. It didn't click until I was about 12 years old, and that's whenever I first saw, on YouTube, transgender influencers and everything. It really clicked. People know when something is inherently wrong or inherently right, and being called anything under the female terms felt inherently wrong.
So you do agree that it is important to have media influence and
Yes.
representation.
Well, especially growing up in the South, it was demonized. It was completely misconstructed and misconstrued. None of the information that I had heard of, none of it was accurate. It was all, they're pedophiles, they're this, they're that, they're all these negative terms and derogatory claims on them and everything. It's not that at all. It's just a respect thing of, why not respect someone's pronouns or something like that? If it makes them uncomfortable, what does it have? What does it hurt you to say he instead of she, or she instead of he, or they instead of either,
I actually had a question about the South. I was going to ask what it's like being transgender in the South.
I've only met one other trans person ever. Whenever I went to Biloxi, I had gotten jumped in the bathroom. I got jumped for being in the men's restroom. The principal got informed that I was in the men's restroom, so I got in trouble with the principal and not able to use the men's restroom anymore. I had to use the teacher's restroom. He called my parents, and so I also got in trouble at home for using the men's restroom. Definitely more difficult, I would say, than more accepting places.
So how do your parents feel whenever you came out to them?
My biological father, at first he said he was accepting. He got married, and it shifted to her being the accepting one and him being the one that was against it. But they had never even tried to use he or Alec or anything like that. They would always dead name me. Use wrong pronouns, everything like that. Would yell at me or ground me if I used the men's restroom at school. But also very wishy-washy. They would get my hopes up every time. It would be like, oh, we'll start doing therapy to get you on testosterone. And then it would be like, this is your name, this is who you are, you're not that. With my biological mother, she's much more into her boyfriends than she ever was her children. So he didn't like it, so she didn't like it. And it wasn't okay with him, so it wasn't allowed. Now my biological mom, she's realized that if she didn't hop on the train, that she would be out of my life. She's coming around, it's nice.
So we talked a little bit about restrooms, and you said people misconstrued transgender people as pedophiles and stuff like that. So if this isn't too much of an invasive question, when's the first time you used a men's restroom, and what were your emotions going into that?
I still had long hair, but I would put it up in this Nightmare Before Christmas beanie and stuff it all in there. I can't remember where it was. I do remember it felt much better than going into the women's restroom. It felt much less anxious or nerve-wracking. Yeah. The sign didn't look foreign whenever I was going in. It didn't scream off alarms in my head, or especially now, with people trying to say trans men should use the women's restroom. If a woman saw me in their restroom, they would freak the hell out. They would be like, "What are you doing in our restroom?" Like,
How do you feel about the Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton's legal opinion that gender-affirming treatments are child abuse and that children's hospitals are now halting hormone treatments?
with the gender-affirming surgeries or hormone replacement therapies, I will say with my mental health, it would have helped tremendously if I would have been put on them straight away. I would have gotten much farther in my transition, even if I was put on hormone blockers. Whenever I had these ideas of, hey, I think I'm trans, like, and with me, it never was that I think. But with parents telling you, no, that's not who you are. With hormone blockers, I feel like those are it's a very safe thing. If your kid is either just starting puberty or haven't yet went through puberty, and they're having these ideas, you can put them on hormone blockers and it just pauses puberty, where they can get to a point where they can make a decision. And I feel like that is the safer route to go. Don't straight ahead put them on testosterone or hormones, but give them time to figure it out, and don't push them to what you want them to be. Let them figure it out themselves, type thing. But with me, say even after hormone blockers were off the table, after I went through puberty, I knew I wanted to be a man. It was just a matter of my parents believing me.
Well, I know that having surgeries and hormones do not make a transgender person. Are you planning on getting any gender-affirming surgeries?
I'm absolutely getting top surgery. Hopefully by the end of this year I'll have the money for it. But with bottom surgeries in transgender people, male to female, it's practically perfected. Then with the female to male, there's much more complications. There's a lot more that wouldn't be accurate. So I would either be waiting for them to come out with new surgeries, or maybe by the time I'm 40, I'll get tired of waiting. But no, top surgery, most definitely, that is where 90% of my dysphoria comes from at this point, since I've started testosterone.
What's your support system like now? Who in your life is the most important to you?
That would be my partner, Ashai. We met back in December. We moved in together fairly quickly. I had never moved in with anyone, like, partner-wise. She's very supportive. She's great, and then I'd have to say my chosen mom. And she took me in, whatever. Neither of my parents were supportive or around or anything whenever I was just getting out into the world on my own. She was a great guide for me.